As a quarterback, understanding how to protect yourself and where your pressure is coming from is vitally important. Just like offenses run play action and run action pass and the RPO game, defenses have evolved to running bluff blitzes, bluff pressures, and different looks to try to get you thinking leverage is coming from one direction and then playing it a different way. After our conversation with Tim Trudeau the other day, I wanted to show you what bluff pressures and bluff blitzes are all about so you can understand leverage, and it's coming up right now. Hit it. Hey everybody, welcome to Elite Athletes TV. I'm Mike Pawlawski, former 11-year pro, and today we're in the quarterback film room with a little quarterback training talking about bluff pressure and bluff blitz. As a quarterback, you have to understand where your pressure is coming from so you can move in the pocket. You have to understand what defenses are trying to do to you so you can work through progressions or work through reads and keys and make it easier for you to get to the right receiver. Now, offenses have been running play action, run action, and recently, last several years, have introduced that RPO game to try to get defenses looking one direction and then get them out leveraged on different spots of the field. And it's been incredibly effective. Well, defenses always adjust to what offenses are doing. And so they have really brought into, especially in college football, bluff pressures, bluff blitzes, bluff leverage, to try to get offenses to waste blockers up front and to try to get quarterbacks' eyes in the wrong spot. And so what they'll do is they'll set you up and show you one leverage or one zone, and then they'll roll to something else. That's a disguise in coverage. They've been doing that for years. But now up front, they're also showing you a bluff pressure where they'll show one guy coming, drop him out into a zone blitz type of read, and they'll bring guys in other spots. We're going to take a look at college game film today, and I'm going to show you different types of bluff pressures and bluff blitzes so you can understand as a quarterback, or if you're a coach, understand as a coach what defenses are trying to do, where they're trying to get your eyes to go, and how you counteract it from the pocket. So right now, let's take a look. We're going to start in the big game, Cal versus Stanford. I love Stanford's defense. They do a ton of exotic stuff, make it really fun, and a lot of what they do up front is designed to get one guy free. So we're going to start in Palo Alto, in the big game right now with a bluff pressure. So here we are, Cal offense on the field, Stanford defense. I told you I love the Stanford defense, and I love studying game film on them because they do a lot of exotic stuff. Cal has 10 personnel in the game, so one running back, no tight ends. So Stanford has matched it with nickel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DBs. So they have personnel matched up perfectly. Stanford's in their nickel, Cal's in their 10. 4 wide receivers, 1 running back versus 5 DBs. What Stanford is showing here is a straight over nickel 4-2. And so their 3 technique right here, wide field, called a wide field strength, 3 receiver side. I would denote that as strength. Some teams would call it to the back. In this case, because it's to the field and you have 3 receivers to that side, that's what I would call strength. From this look, you can see they have man to the short side of the field. So into the boundary, this guy is locked up. There's no question he is playing man all the way. Out to the field, they're playing some kind of combo. Still looks like man, but because DBs are looking back into the ball, waiting for the snap, and because they're aligned at depth, you can see how it mirrors here. You've got a triangle heading back, triangle heading back. The reason for that is if you get all 3 of these guys up on the same level, then it makes it easy for whatever you do from here to create pick routes for those DBs. And so the DBs will align at different levels so they don't get picked off. What Cal is going to run here, you're going to see, is a sit, an out, and a curl or a stop, depending on what you call it in your offense. Defensively, what Stanford is trying to do is they are trying to get the offensive line in the wrong place. You see right here, as a defense or as an offensive lineman, you would expect this guy to come. There is nothing outside of him. There's nothing he has to leverage. You've got man coverage up by this corner. There's no extra receivers to this side, so he can be a free runner. He can play free to rush the passer. So Stanford is showing rush from this point. As I move the film forward a little bit, you're going to see this linebacker start to get a little toesy. He's heading downhill towards the hill. So as a quarterback right now, you're reading it, you're saying, okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that I think are going to rush at this point. So we'll move this forward just a little bit. And you can see Mike linebacker walking up. He's looking like he is going to be an A-gap blitzer here. So as expected, you've still got it picked up. You've got 5 guys plus a running back to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. This linebacker looks like he's dropping all the way. There's either dropping or manned up on this back, but he's not looking like he's going to be in the pressure. So as a quarterback, you know that you've got this picked up in terms of bodies. Now, move it forward and watch what Stanford's doing here. So rather than be a blitzer or be a pressure guy from that outside linebacker spot, this linebacker is actually dropping into coverage. This linebacker is hitting the A-gap. So Stanford's only rushing 4. You should still be okay. The reason that you show this pressure as a defense first is because you want to try to keep this tackle engaged on that side of the ball. If, as a quarterback, you recognized early on that this guy was going to drop out, you could literally declare Mike back to this side and slide your entire line back to pick this up and then get your back out free. But because you don't know if, let me clean that up a little bit, because you don't know he's coming at the start, you have to leave this tackle locked here to protect, stay on the outside. So what Stanford's trying to do is they're trying to get Cal to waste offensive linemen. They're going to rush this tackle. He's going to force the guard, engage the guard, and then widen. This backside tackle is also going to engage the guard and then widen. And they're looking to take 2 offensive linemen per side with those defensive line rushes. By engaging both guys, they're going to occupy both or get them to turn their shoulders, get them out of position. They're then going to rush this Mike linebacker, and I would assume that they're saying threaten that right A-gap, the offensive right A-gap, left A-gap for the defense. On the center's right hand, you want to engage him, and then this defensive end is going to give a look like he's rushing, and then he's going to loop back inside. As I said, Stanford loves to give you looks to try to get one man free, one free hitter on the quarterback. In this case, they're trying to engage this side of the offensive line with that single rush and widen, A-gap by Mike, and then what's called a TE, tackle end stunt here. I'll move it forward for you so you can see what we're talking about. So as we come forward, now you've got backer coming at that center's right hand. Tackle has now engaged this guard. He's about to widen into this tackle. This tackle has engaged guard, and he's widening to take this tackle. As this backer drops out, now Cal has 1 extra offensive lineman who was dedicated to blocking this man, and now he's out in space all alone. Move it forward a little bit more for you. Now you can see where they're trying to create that mismatch. Backer has now engaged center on his right hand. Tackle has engaged the guard and moved out to that offensive tackle. Both the tackle and the guard are blocking one man on this side. So this side occupied. They're trying to occupy all 3 on this side with 2 players, and you see this end loop coming around trying to get that free hitter. In the meantime, as we move it forward, Cal does a nice job of passing this defensive tackle off. So tackle here ended up taking that defensive tackle. Guard came back inside to help with Mike. And then as he pushes Mike, closes down that A-gap, he and center work together to go 2-on-2. So they do a nice job of picking it up. Remember, Stanford only rushing 4 guys on this play. You have 5 offensive linemen to pick it up. As a result, Garbers has protection in the pocket. And as this route comes open, remember we had the tight end on the shallow out of the bunch. You get the sit down here, and then this is going to be that curl route. So because Garbers has protection, he has time to get this ball off. He just drills an absolute strike. And first down, Cal moves the chains. Now I want to run this back for quarterbacks. Understand, we talked about triangle reads, and if you haven't seen them, I'll put a note up above so that you can check it out. But what Cal is doing here as they develop this route is they're creating two separate triangle reads for the quarterback. Again, tight end sit, shoot and sit, curl, and on the backside, they're running a sit with the back in the flat. And so what you have here as a quarterback, you have triangle read here, or you have triangle read there. And so that makes you a two-sided triangle read. Because they have this man coverage, Garbers decides to work out to the field, and so he's going to work 3-on-3 here in man coverage. And as it declares, it comes clean and open. And there's your shot. You can see again, triangle read. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. He could have worked either side on this one. Ends up throwing that stop route to his outside receiver to the wide side of the field. Great job. Nice completion. And a first down. So seeing this from the defensive side of the ball, and I'll draw up what's about to happen here. Okay, linebacker starting to get toesy. He's going to come up and hit this A-gap. This outside backer is going to bluff rush to engage this tackle and then drop out. Defensive tackle here is going to engage guard and then try to work out to take two guys with him. Defensive tackle here in the 3 is going to engage guard and then widen to try to take these two with him. As the Mike hits this A-gap, he's hoping to engage the center, and then as they loop around, they're hoping to get clean here. Run it in slow-mo for you. Right now, Stanford has what they want. Tackle's engaged. This tackle's looking back inside and starting his loop. Mike taking the inside shoulder of the center. Both of these guys are engaged with a single player. Here's a great move. So watch Cal's right guard as he passes this. Now you're going to see him look back to the inside to pick up next block. And so this is where Cal wins up front. A great job of recognizing this stunt and adjusting to it and passing it. So see that guard moving back inside now? As he comes back inside, now he can pick up this looper. And these two work to block those two. Nice job washing it by the quarterback. And as a quarterback, that feels really nice. Big, wide open field of vision. Makes you feel safe in the pocket. Garbers just steps up and throws an absolute dime. Exactly how you run it. Now let's take a look at Cal's defense. I love what Cal does on defense. We talked to Tim Trudeau the other day, and they do a lot of bluff blitzes, bluff looks, bluff pressures to try to get quarterbacks' eyes in the wrong place. So now you see Cal up in Pullman versus Washington State. I believe that's Gardner Minshew right there at the quarterback position. And so Cal, again, showing outside linebacker rush, D-tackle, nose, D-tackle, outside linebacker rush. Mike linebacker in the middle of the field. As a quarterback, as you read this, I would say zone down here because his feet are square, hands are down, and he's looking back into the ball. This inside leverage in that backpedal stance, to me, looks like man pre-snap. Could be man, could be zone. This looks like zone because you have all this empty space in here. And so that's what they're trying to get quarterback to read. Zone look here. This is clearly a zone look over the top. Linebacker here, could be man, could be zone. You have to wait for that to declare. So what Cal's going to do as we move it forward, you're going to see they're going to take that same thing with that wide side outside linebacker on the line of scrimmage. He's going to show rush, and then he's going to drop out. And they get the quarterback here. Now, the air raid is different in that you're not reading coverage. And I know that for a fact because I sat all night with Mike Leach after a game one time, and we discussed the difference between, reading coverages, why you read coverages, why you don't read coverages. But quarterbacks aren't reading coverages here. They're looking for green grass. And so you can see Minshew looking back, safety here. He's got a go route over the top, swing route underneath. With that safety over the top, it cancels that go route. And so he's going to work back to the field. But you can see this outside linebacker, who was the rush guy, is now dropping out to a zone. Single defensive tackle engaging two here. In the middle, you have, run this back just a little bit. In the middle, you have nose guard trying to engage center and then guard. So one player, is trying to occupy these two. They're going to run an NT, so nose, tackle, and the way you call that is the guy that goes first is the first letter. But nose, tackle, stunt, and they're going to bring that outside backer. So left tackle has to stay home. Nose guard is trying to engage two, and they're trying to bring a looper back into that A gap. Again, single player trying to engage two to create this rushing lane for that defense. If you move it forward, you can see that looper coming over the top now, trying to get that one free hitter. So what that does is, with pressure coming from this side, is it moves the pocket this direction. You can feel pressure coming there. Where you've got 2-on-1 here, it keeps that pretty level and flat for a quarterback. So naturally, you're going to drift back this direction. Minshew, looking at the safety, eliminating this go route, now he has to fall back. But what he didn't see is this outside backer dropping into coverage. We'll move it forward. And receiver, as I understand it in the air raid system, and I am by no means an air raid expert, receivers are supposed to run to green grass. He read that defensive outside backer rushing, and so he is looking to sit in this hole. But as Cal drops the backer into this zone, now that zone is occupied, so he really should have pulled up out here to give Minshew something to work with. So Minshew coming over late now. He doesn't have this throw. Now he brings his eyes back to this side, and this is covered because that outside linebacker dropped into coverage. Cal is playing what's called a cover 6 back here. So corner has the flat, safety high. You get quarters, and this is locked up man. So it's really a combo coverage. Man down below, single wide receiver, say, we think our guy can take your guy on the outside, and they're zoning this off. As this route breaks out to the corner, there's a corner out there to catch it. Outside linebacker underneath this one. So nowhere to go with that ball. Run it back one time, full speed here. And Minshew just has to throw this ball away because there's nowhere to go with it. By the time he gets back over to that wide side, see him looking back to the boundary, nothing there. He gets back to the wide side, but his receivers are essentially running to get covered. And so he throws it away, smart play by a quarterback. One time from the end zone. Love the high angle here. And I'll just draw it up again. Gonna bluff pressure and drop to zone. Gonna try to occupy 2. Take that inside arm and push. Try to take both of these guys. Step, loop, trying to get that free hitter. Outside, occupy the tackle. Free release by this back. And you can see they do a nice job inside actually passing this off. So as nose guard takes that shoulder and then tries to get to that guard, center is going to pass him to the guard and step back in and pick up this looper. Now, if you engage him just a step longer and then come outside, you probably hold him and get him to turn his shoulders and you clear that looper. That's where patience comes in on that rush. But I didn't play that D-tackle position. I'm just giving my opinion as a quarterback here. Run it in slow-mo. See, they pick up the looper, but because this pressure is starting to close the dish, Minshew has to come this way in his shuffle. Receiver is literally going to run to get covered behind this outside linebacker. I know that can't be part of the air raid system because you don't run to get covered. You run for open grass. So Minshew has nowhere to go with that football. Looking for anybody, decides throw it away. Good choice by a quarterback. Get rid of that football. So you can see on that one, Cal's defense actually won. They got Minshew's eyes in the wrong place. They got pressure on him. They dropped into zone, and they had things covered up on the backside. And so that's where that bluff pressure gets you in trouble as a quarterback. If you're not aware of it, and as a receiver, if you're not aware of it, you're looking to space that's occupied by a guy that you didn't expect to be there. That's why I say it's like play action. Play action on offense, you're trying to get the defense's eyes to think run, get them downhill and out of position. Defense, bluff pressures, bluff blitz, are made to get the offense out of position, thinking one rush, one pressure scheme, and then moving to another. So Cal wins on that one. I'll show you one here versus North Texas where Cal's offense wins because North Texas ends up out of position. All right, back in Berkeley, and you can see here as a quarterback, that looks like cover 0 to me. Now, he's playing off on the backside, but he has no safety help in the middle, so he's got to be playing man because they wouldn't just leave him alone out here in zone and let this be a free run to center field. Again, middle of field open, nobody in the center. And you can see up front, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rushers. This guy looks like he's in coverage. Cal in 10 personnel, single running back right there, Chris Brown. And so right now, if you're Chase Garbers, you're thinking, this is pressure. It's coming. And I've got to figure out what to do with the ball. Up top, Cal is running a smash, maybe a snag route. Looks like they actually miscommunicate from the receiver spot. But number 2 looks like he's supposed to run to the flat. Number 1 looks like he's supposed to run to get open in here. And they're going to run a corner route from the inside. And so they get a little confused in their route. Versus 0 coverage as a quarterback, this is what you're looking for. You want this route. You already have leverage on this guy because he's playing inside. And so if you run a good stem at him and break that sharp to the corner, that should be a gimme. Garbers right now is thinking, okay, 6 guys rushing. This guy has to be covering man, but you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in protection. So I'm going to have to get this ball out quickly. Now, luckily, with that corner route, this is a throw that you can throw on timing or on rhythm. So we'll run this forward, and we'll show you what North Texas is trying to do here. They are going to bring a B-gap bluff blitz. So B-gap, they're going to look like they're bringing pressure with backers here. B-gap look like he's bringing pressure here. What they are trying to do is occupy these guards and tackles to block MDM, or most dangerous man. So those 2 on those 2, center helping here, guard and tackle locked up here. That's what they're looking for on defense. Move it forward. Now, Cal max protects out of 10 personnel by leaving running back in. So they're literally sliding down, tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle, all sliding back to pick up this pressure. As we move it forward, the Bluff blitz in B, you can see left tackle slides for that Bluff blitz, and then that linebacker actually backs out because he's going to cover that running back man-to-man. Running back engaged, blocking a big boy on the end, so that's a mismatch for the defense. They should win that one, getting a defensive end versus a running back. But because the tackle is down inside now, the man who was looking like he was in coverage is coming in pressure through that C gap to the outside. And so tackle's engaged, shoulders step down inside, and he's engaged, and Texas is actually going to get a free runner because the tackle can't get back in time. Back here on the backside, this is that backer stepped into the hole, came back out, and they're looping, trying to get back into that A gap, but center is picking it up from the backside. Move it forward. You can see tackle stays engaged, looking at this guy just a beat too long. Gives a fleeter athlete, as a defensive back, the ability to get past him, gets upfield of his shoulders, and so he can't get back to it. Tackle can't reach that guy, but Garbage is getting that ball off. So because he can throw this on timing, you can see he's got a free hitter coming at him, but he steps in and throws that corner route, and that's a winner versus man coverage. Receiver does a nice job of adjusting for the ball and then making a play at the end. Run that back for you one more time. Full speed here. Let you watch the play evolve. Again, double B bluff, looper, blitzer, but Garbers gets that ball off, throws a catchable ball, and lets his receiver do the rest. One time from the end zone. So as a quarterback, you're thinking, okay, this guy's coming. This guy's got his hand in the dirt. He's coming. This guy's got his hand in the dirt. He's coming. This guy's up. You think he's coming. He is a bluff blitzer in that B gap. And this guy looks like he's coming. They have it covered up behind with coverage. And so you're thinking, all right, here comes the heat. Now you know you've got a full slide on. So 6, running back sliding down in, tackle sliding in. He's going to stay heads up. These 3 are going to slide back to pick up these 3. So with a full slide, you think that you're protected on this play. And you can see tackle sliding down inside. That bluff blitz now comes, and he drops out. Tackle stays engaged, thinking of that rusher a beat too long, because a man who looked like he was in coverage, when he sees his back block, it's either a green dog, meaning if the back blocks, he's coming now, or this was a design pressure where he is now meant to cover the back over the top. But 2 free runners on the loops, but Garbers gets that ball out and throws a catchable ball. As a quarterback, oftentimes, if you're not sure about angles, but you know you've got man coverage, you throw a ball to an open space and let your guy go get it. So we'll run it one time full speed. Take a look at how it evolves from the pocket. Throw that catchable ball and let your athletes do the rest. So as you can see, as a quarterback, really important to understand where your pressures are coming from, where the leverage is, and what defenses are trying to do to you. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell so that you get notified every time we have new content coming out. Also, give us a thumbs up and comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys on the questions that you have about the game. I didn't have access to anybody who knew the game like this when I was back in high school, and so it took me until I got to the college level playing in the Pac-10 to understand football. I have 11 years of pro experience, 20 years as a broadcaster, and I want to help you learn the game. That's what I'm here for. So I appreciate you watching. This is Elite Athletes TV. I'm Mike Pawlawski, and we were looking at quarterback training today on the Bluff Blitz and Bluff Pressure.